Customer was aware of the condition of the siding. You couldn't miss it, right? It was the entire side of their house, and they had to look at it every single time that they drove up to their house.
If you're thinking about starting a pressure washing business, but you want to learn more about the equipment, mixing chemicals, how to clean every surface on a residential job site, property protection, and much, much more, check out the How to Wash course. It'll be the first link in the comment section and the description.
So I got my customer arrested, and that is the title of the video. And yes, my customer did get arrested. And yes, I unfortunately was involved to some degree in the incident. And while I'm a little bit embarrassed that it got to the point that it did, I thought I was doing the right thing. But in hindsight, maybe sometimes it's better just to keep your mouth shut, keep your head down, and just go about your day. But if you watch the channel, then you know that I'm probably not that guy. So let me give you a little background. There are a few things that I haven't seen or heard about as far as the things that you might encounter when you're out doing a pressure washing job. And what I'm about to share is one of the things that I'd never seen, right? And some pretty crazy stuff, and something that I was totally unaware of until about 4 weeks ago when I got a copy of one of our pre-inspection forms from one of the guys, because he was pretty concerned with what he had found at the house that he was about to start cleaning. So he asked me to take a look and let him know what I thought and how he should proceed. So I got the email, I opened it up, I scrolled down to the pictures, and this is what I saw. Okay, so obviously over the years, like I said, we have seen all kinds of issues at the properties that we service. And this looked very similar to when a barbecue grill or a fire pit is too close to a house which has vinyl siding, and the heat melts the vinyl siding. Now, something like that is not very hard to identify because it's isolated to just one spot. Typically the fire pit or the barbecue or the grill is still there, and there's oftentimes carbon buildup on the siding from all of the smoke. Now, as you can see from this picture, it was the side of the house. Nothing around there that would indicate a heat source that could have caused anything this widespread across the entire side of the house. So the homeowner obviously was notified that there was an issue. Not that they didn't know, but this is something that we do at every single property that we step foot on to ensure that we are not held responsible for any pre-existing condition or anything that we could possibly be blamed for as a result of the services that we provide. Even things that are not even in the scope or the realm of possibilities, right? We document everything like this strange looking distorted siding, and we always notify the customer through our inspection form. And then we proceed based on the given situation. Obviously, limiting your company's exposure, mitigating any potential liability before it becomes a real issue is very important for all businesses, regardless of what you're doing. And that's why we have the 28-point inspection as part of the platinum version of Quote IQ. Not only is it set up for pressure cleaning, but we also have a bunch of other industries that are currently in the app, and then we're adding stuff every single day. We got mobile detailing, lawn care. But the cool thing is, just like the entire quoting side of the app, the inspection form is 100% customizable, so you can add as many points as you want. You can add anything to it to cover your ass so bad people can't blame you for things that you didn't do. And like I had said earlier, the customer was aware of the condition of the siding. You couldn't miss it, right? It was the entire side of their house, and they had to look at it every single time that they drove up to their house, which was apparently something that was quite upsetting to the homeowner for obvious reasons. But when I brought it up, he kind of brushed it off, was a little bit annoyed that I even mentioned it, and said that they were trying to figure out and just to wash the house. So we went ahead, we cleaned the house, we sent the invoice, we got paid. But it wasn't until I had mentioned something about this photograph, the one that I showed you earlier, on another video, that I learned more about what caused it, because I didn't know. It was something that I hadn't seen before, like I had said. And that's what led to the incident that I'd mentioned earlier with the customer getting arrested. So the melted siding was caused by something called solar distortion.
Siding on your home can actually melt, if you didn't know that. It's called solar distortion.
Yeah, who knew? It happens when light reflects off your neighbor's windows onto your home.
So as any good business owner would do, once I discovered what the cause was, I wanted to let them know so they could hopefully remedy the situation. So I sent the email with a brief explanation, and I never heard anything back. Now, a few days later, I was actually pretty close to the neighborhood where they lived, and I stopped by to follow up and actually film the siding because I knew I wanted to make a video about it because I thought it was pretty interesting. The wife answered the door, and I introduced myself. She thanked me for reaching out. She said that they did get my email, and she told me because of that email, her husband got arrested. So she told me that they called the home builder, who immediately blamed the siding manufacturer. Okay. Then the siding manufacturer was contacted. They blamed the neighbors because they had low E windows that have a tendency to act as magnifying glasses when reflecting the sun off the windows, which then melted the siding on my customer's house. And the neighbors basically told them to get lost, to pound sand, and to sue them if they thought that they had a leg to stand on, but they didn't, so bye-bye. Not very neighborly, and apparently there were some other issues between the two homeowners in the past, and this incident escalated it even further. Things got heated. The police were called. My customer apparently laid hands on the neighbor, as his wife had put it, and the customer went to jail. So this is a pretty odd scenario, police and anger issues aside, and while apparently it does happen more often than you would think, this phenomenon is in fact caused by the neighbor's windows. And while I'm not a lawyer or a judge, so I don't know the legality of who is actually responsible, but I'll get back to that in a second. So this is what happens. Concentrated sunlight reflects off the energy efficient windows, or low E windows, and onto vinyl siding, which can create enough heat to melt the siding and distort it. While it's not common, it can and does happen. In almost every single case, the evidence is overwhelmingly and unavoidable that energy efficient windows are capable of concentrating and reflecting solar energy like a laser beam, which causes damage to a wide variety of materials, and as we found out, vinyl siding. Now, the important takeaway here is that this phenomenon is not caused in any way by the vinyl siding or by any chemical reaction caused by the detergents used by pressure washers when they're out doing their job. And actually, I have heard guys say that they were blamed for a very similar situation, saying there was a chemical reaction that caused this, which they've tried to blame on these guys. Now, it's caused by newer low E windows that are installed on nearby structures where the sunlight happens to reflect in a particular way, and more energy efficient windows are being installed every single day across the world, and the likelihood of more cases of melted siding is inevitable, which is why it's so important to do a pre-inspection walkthrough. Now, if you're watching this and you think that there is the potential on your own property, or maybe one that you see, that this damage could occur as a result of the solar distortion, there are a couple things that can be done to these types of windows that can prevent the amount of reflection that's bouncing off of them. The unfortunate thing is most of the time it's not your property that's causing this type of problem, right? It's your neighbors. And as we all know, not all neighbors are friendly, and they might not be willing to spend more money on their house just to prevent damage, especially when they hate you like this guy's did. But here are a couple things that can be done to help prevent this. First thing that you can do is protect your house by blocking the path of sunlight. Either do this with window screens or some kind of shading. You can also use trees, bushes, or other kind of landscaping elements, which are going to help to block the sun. Screening applied to windows may reduce the total amount of reflected energy and help to avoid the problem as well. But again, that's on them. It's not on you, and you're probably not going to pay to have them do that to their windows to protect your property. That's just my guess. But I've been making these here YouTube videos for a while now, and I know that sometimes the social justice warriors get all riled up about the chemicals that we use, the water that we use, talking about the environment and droughts and the lack of water, right? And we know that 99.9% of all of that is pure bullshit. But I also know for a fact that this particular scenario, it's going to cause quite a dilemma for some of these environmental geniuses because they don't know what to complain about. So I'm going to address two possible scenarios so then they can decide which one they want to take and make their own. Okay, the first of which is global warming, right? Global warming is to blame. The sun is brighter, the ozone is thinner, and that's why vinyl siding is being destroyed. Not the case, okay? It's just factually not possible. The second is the manufacturers at fault, and now they are also polluting the environment with even more carcinogens because the vinyl heats up, it's emitting dangerous chemicals into the atmosphere, which will eventually end up killing all of us. Of course, this is not accurate either. So when vinyl siding is distorted and melted by the heat, the vinyl siding is changing shape, but doesn't break down or release toxic chemicals at the temperatures reached in reflected sunlight cases. The combustion and other conditions necessary to create dioxin, which is not a good thing, do not occur with reflected sunlight. So we're putting that one to bed. And as far as who is at fault, that is left up to the courts. I know there are multiple organizations, industry associations that work on behalf of both the vinyl siding manufacturers as well as the window manufacturers that are going to have to battle it out in court. Unfortunately for the homeowner, it's just a waiting game. And at the end of the day, they're probably going to get screwed somehow. And this guy's probably going to have to hire somebody for his case as well, which is not related to solar distortion. So that is it for this video. I thought it would help. If you're interested in the pre-inspection form, you can download Quote IQ. It is on both the Apple and the Google Play Store. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day. And you still have time to register for the Pressure Washing Business Starter Kit, where we are giving away a 4-gallon per minute Southeast Soft Wash Kraken pressure washer, a 20-inch surface cleaner, and 100 feet of high pressure hose. There is a link below to check that out.